What's up, everyone? Today I was going to go work on the Mini Cooper, but unfortunately everything's frozen inside of it, so I can't move the carpet and all that stuff. We're going to just let it thaw out a little bit. Maybe tomorrow will be a good day, but what we're going to work on today is the rear end. I figure this is a perfect opportunity to jack it up, try stripping it down as best we can, check the inside of it, make sure that this thing is going to work out for us, and as long as we don't see anything that's concerning, we'll strip the rust and everything off of it and get a nice coat of paint on it. We're going to paint this black. Now, the big thing we're going to have to run into, of course, is just getting these old bushings out. I have the new ones sitting there, but I had a hard time to even try getting them out earlier. So we'll see what we can do to get the old bushings out. And then someone brought up an interesting concern they had with painting the transmission housing. When you paint something, you do insulate it because it is ceramic coated. Because you're ceramic coating it, it will hold the heat in theory. However, you do have one thing that's really neat. It's called Kirchhoff's law, I believe it's called. And the reason why I bring up Kirchhoff's law is in the world of thermodynamics, there are two ways to extract heat. There's one, which is the more effective way, which of course is just with convection. So as the air flows off of it, it'll actually ablate the heat from the surface. It will physically remove it. However, this is going to be in a transmission tunnel, and it's not going to get that much air flowing over it. It's going to get a little bit. You're going to really require most of the heat to be pulled off with radiation. Now, there are different colors that radiate heat better. Black is the best, absolutely, no hands down. Red is right there with it. Now, what ends up happening is generally when you have a surface that's very good at absorbing heat, it's actually very good at radiating heat off. So like when your car, if you have a black car, it gets real hot in the summer and gets really cold in the winter, it's because it actually will pull heat away because of its color. It's just the laws of thermodynamics. It doesn't make any sense. That's why a lot of radiators and what do you call them? Oh man, intercoolers. That's why intercoolers and stuff like that are generally black. It's not only because it makes it look better than just raw steel or aluminum or copper or anything like that. It also helps just kind of ablate the heat from the surface, though they more rely on the convection more so than a transmission. So that is why it doesn't really make too much of a difference if you paint a surface. If you're worrying about, heat being pulled off of it, it will hold a little bit more heat in just the actual insulation. But once it starts to warm up, which won't be very long, it'll actually ablate the heat through radiation. So there you go. That's a very interesting little thing about thermodynamics. You can actually radiate heat more efficiently with red, black, than say if this was just staying aluminum or white. So I wonder how blue works. I actually don't know, but because radiation of heat is pretty interesting. If you want to look into it, remember it's Kirchhoff's law, and it's he was a pretty interesting guy when it came to thermodynamics, and look him up. Pretty neat. Anyways, so that's why it doesn't really make too much of a difference if we paint it. It's really not going to insulate it too much. Anyways, we are going to go ahead and start stripping down everything. While we do that, we'll take that one completely out. I was planning on just leaving the front parts of all the parts and pieces in, but we're going to take these completely off, take the springs out, disconnect it, and I might just roll this out and try getting it on the other bay, because if we bring it to the other bay, I'll have a little bit more room to work on it. The other thing is we can start dismantling the transmission very shortly. I'll probably do it tomorrow. We'll saran wrap or cellophane wrap it, and then store it just for the time being until we order the bell housing. The other, just so we don't end up scratching it or marring it or damaging all the wonderful work we've put into it. So yes, we'll move this out of the way, store it for now, take it off the bell housing, wrap it, and that'll be that. All right. So let me go ahead, start stripping the rear end, and I'll be right back. Just like that, we were able to just pull it apart, roll it out, roll back to the other side, and I gotta say, so much easier with brand new hardware in it. Took me no time at all. Now it's sitting over here, and what we're gonna have to do, oh yeah, if you don't already have a set of these dollies, definitely pick them up. I was able to roll the wheels over, lift up one wheel, kind of drag it on the snow, put it inside, put one of the wheel dollies in, lift up the other side, push it in, put it on the dolly, and now I can move it around at whim. Now, that being said, the goal right now is going to be stripping this completely down, removing any of the hardware, getting ready to see if this is any good first. I think it is. I don't see why it wouldn't be, but it seems like it free floats. Strip the drum brakes and everything, get that ready to be upgraded, and then go ahead and, if it is good, which I have a feeling it is, strip it, get it ready for paint. But yeah, this is a 8.5 Buick rear end. But most of the sound I hear from it is definitely coming out of the drum brakes. So let's go ahead, get it up on these axle stands or jack stands, and then start stripping it apart. Okay guys, I went ahead, got the bolts pulled out of this thing, and we're going to try prying this cover off. We might need a little bit of assistance with a good old tool over here, like a screwdriver, and just always good to try doing this type of stuff with just one hand while it's on a set of stands here. There we go. Well, someone was very liberal with the silicone. That's good. Smells good. I mean, it smells bad, but it smells good, if that makes any sense. Fluids look good. The rear looks fantastic. Let's see what we got here, guys. Ooh. Trying to get this thing to turn. Now it sounds like it's binding somewhere. I can't turn it anymore. So we'll have to count the different individual teeth in these gears so that we can know what our gear ratio is. So that is going to be the next thing. But look at that, guys. Look at that. Why are we not spinning? I'm going to put you guys on the tripod for a second. Okay, so we got the oil drained out of it, and it is a bit metallic-y. I don't know if there was an oil additive they added when they put it together, but I really hope so, because otherwise that's an awful lot of metallic material inside there. So I would be a little bit concerned of the overall condition of the differential. So our next step is we're going to strip the outside of this, get all the brake line bits and pieces off without knocking this thing off the stands. Should be pretty easy. Once we get that off, we'll get the little dust guards off. We'll start cleaning it up. We'll get the drums off, strip it down, right down to the very nitty-gritty, right down to the axles, and get it ready for completely cleaning it and completely painting it and making this thing look like brand new. So without further ado, let's do this. Okay guys, we have had a strike of luck. The noise and the binding was just because the drums were actually seized, not seized, but they were definitely grabbing on the driver's side. As you can tell now, nice. It sounds butter smooth. It's awesome. Everything is nice and smooth. Everything moves the way it's supposed to. So the next object we have to do is, or our next objective we have to do, is just strip the rest of this stuff down so we just have the axle and no guts. I want to get this thing all nice and scrubbed, painted, and then we'll start reassembling it. Well guys, I was trying to hold off pulling the axles as long as I possibly could. Unfortunately, this dust guard right here is just, I really am going to have to fight with these bolts, which means they're not going to be able to be reused, which is fine. They're pretty pretty rusted. So what we're gonna have to do next is we pulled the bearing caps out. So we're gonna disassemble this entire thing and store it nice and safely. So we're gonna pull this bolt right here. If I can remember where I put my ratchet. I set it down somewhere. Oh, there it is. It's underneath this towel. Okay. So we'll go ahead, switch out that for this. There we go. That's too big. I was hoping that would work, but nope, no such luck. So I hope you're all doing very well at home, and or if you're at work. Try to stay safe in these crazy times. Try to have a little bit of small talk while I fight with this thing here. We're almost there. You can already see it starting to move. That might have done it. It's actually turning up to be a nice day. Tomorrow's going to be nicer. So tomorrow, we're going to put a coat of paint on this thing so we can have the garage doors open and not worry about paint fumes inside the house, which we did that yesterday. But it was still pretty cold out, so I was worried that the paint would end up giving me a hard time. But it didn't, so there's that. This is going to be a pain, isn't it? There we go. I'd pull this right out of there. We did leak a little bit of the differential juice on the ground, but not too much. All right, let's go ahead, slide this bad boy out. Look at that. So we'll put the pin right in there for the time being. We're going to set this up on the table. On one of our rags. Now, see where does that leave us? There we go. We were able to push that in. Turn this over. The little C-clamp should just fall right out. We want it to fall out not that direction. So I probably will end up hitting you guys and moving you. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry. All right, where's the C-clamp? There it is. So again, we'll put that C-clamp over there on a piece of paper. We should be able to. Oops. Slide this axle right out. And just like that, guys, we have our axle out. So there's different ways that axles are generally retained inside their differentials. This one just happens to be a C-clamp one. Which if you're doing off-roading purposes, don't recommend that route. But for what we're using, that's actually kind of what I like. So let's go ahead, set this somewhere very, very safe. We don't want to damage it. I am going to look into some chromoly ones or maybe some a little bit more hefty ones. But for now, we're definitely going to want to just keep this in a nice, safe spot and take the other side off. Like I was saying before, these are pretty gross and grimy, but the result of that, it looks like it's fairly heavily pitted. So I'm really considering saving up and getting new axles at some point, just because I don't want there to be an absolute travesty. So for right now, I'm definitely going to just leave them in, but we will keep an eye out for maybe a real nice set, or if you guys may know of a suggestion that will be able to take the horsepower. But once you start getting corrosion on the surface, and there's a couple spots where you can really see how bad the pitting is along, especially through here. And the car did sit for a long time. There's no pitting inside here. It's just inside the shaft. Hopefully there's no real long lasting effects inside here. We'll make sure we clean them out. It's not like it's real bad. Like, it probably would be fine. I just kind of want to err on the side of caution, if that makes sense. So anyways, we'll go ahead for now. We'll slap them back in just so that we have this all together, and we'll keep it from any of the debris going inside the shafts. Put the cover back on, and just like the other day, I will go through and start cleaning it up tonight and into tomorrow. And tomorrow, hopefully, we'll get a nice video of this thing getting cleaned, and we'll start working on the Mini Cooper. So let's go ahead, throw this back together. All right, guys, that is all for today. We got this thing pretty much all stripped down. There are a few more things I need to just quickly take out of it, but other than that, it's ready to be cleaned. I do need to find a way of getting these old bushings out. I hit them a couple times today. I think what we're going to have to do is put some penetrant oil on it, and then tomorrow, see if we can't get it off. Worst case scenario, just cut both sides of them and just work with it that way. However, for the most part, we're ready to go and start cleaning, which I'll do tonight on and off and into tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow we'll put some nice paint on this and make it look absolutely beautiful. Once that's all painted, we'll go ahead, slap the wheels back on it and put it back into place over there for the time being, until we can go around and make sure that everything inside of it is absolutely perfect. But I think we're going to be pretty much all set. I would like to look into some nicer actual axles themselves, something that's going to be a little bit more skookum, a little bit stronger. So other than that, I'm very pleased with the internal, and like, it's in really good shape. The outside may look like it's on the bottom of the Marianas Trench, but the inside is absolutely beautiful. So that's all I have for you guys today. I really hope you're all in good health and making the best of the situation as well, best we can. For all you first responders and people that are still on the front lines of this, still in the manufacturing, I do very much appreciate all the hard work you guys are putting out. And I really hope you all stay safe and healthy. And until tomorrow, have a wonderful night and keep it shiny side up.